Greetings from chess.com. Today I'm going to show you some exciting traps in the French defense. Let's get started. The first trap that I'm going to show starts like this with e4, e6, g4, d5 and knight c3. And in this position, let's say if black takes d takes c4, white will take knight takes e4. And I'm going to start with one of the most popular traps as far as the French defense is concerned. I think it starts with bishop d7, and after knight f3, black attacks the knight with bishop c6, and now white defends that knight, and after knight f6, white plays knight takes f6. And in this position, gf6 is the best move for black, but if black takes queen takes f6, he loses a queen. This is a good moment for you to figure out the nuances. What would you do if you were white? In this position, white can take advantage of the fact that the queen has come to f6 and white can attack with bishop g5. For a moment, it may seem as if bishop g5 is a mistake because the knight is supporting the bishop and the knight could be captured with bishop into f3. Yes, after bishop into f3, white has a cunning move. White has queen d2, protecting the bishop on g5, and the bishop on g5 continues to attack the queen on f6. Now the queen cannot go to the light squares because the white's bishop is keeping an eye on those squares and the queen is trapped. So in this position, queen takes d4 seems like the only move, but after queen takes d4, white wins the black queen with bishop b5 check. Now knight c6 is met by queen takes d4 directly and the queen is lost. So that was the first trap. Let's move on to the next trap. Again, in the French defense, after e4, e6, d4, d5, let's take a look at the advanced variation with e5. In this position, the common move for black is to play c5, and after c3, knight c6, and after knight f3, queen b6. Black continues to keep an eye on the d4 pawn, and then white goes a3, and after c4, white goes knight d2. In this position, it's very common to play bishop d7 here. So they play bishop d7, and after bishop e2, black usually plays knight a5. But if your opponent plays knight to e7, be ready to play this tactical trick with bishop into c4. The point is that d takes c4 is not possible because of knight takes c4 attacking the queen, and when the queen moves, let's say, to c7 or a6, there is knight d6 check followed by knight f7 and the rook is lost. White can just take the rook on the next move. So that's the next trap. So with a3, c4, knight d2, bd7, bishop e2, knight e7, there is bishop into c4. So players playing black, please don't play knight e7, and players who are white, if your opponent plays knight e7, be ready to play bishop into c4. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's look at another French defense trap after e4, e6, d4, d5, knight d2. This is again one of the most popular lines to play against the French, and after black plays knight f6, white goes e5 attacking the knight, knight goes back, knight ft7, white develops the bishop, bishop d3, c5, just play c3, and after knight c6, the pawn is attacked twice, so you defend it, knight e2, so you are supporting it twice, and after queen b6, when the third attack comes, you again support the pawn with knight f3. Castling is also a possibility here, but in this trap there is knight f3, and after cd4, cd4, bishop b4 check, there is a clever move you can make, play king f1. Now when your opponent sees that you have deliberately moved away and are now not having any plans to castle, the immediate or default response could be castles, but this is unfortunately a mistake for black. Unfortunately, white has a way to take advantage of this. He can play bishop takes h7 check, and after, this is a great gift, and after king takes h7, white has knight g5 check. Keep in mind that you can't really bring your queen directly to h5, but this is very powerful even if there is no queen h5. For example, if black goes king to g6, white has queen d3 check, and after f5 he can go knight f4 check, and then it's just mate. After king h6, there is game over. So in this position, after knight g5 check, king g8 is very normal, and in this position your white plays queen d3 threatening the mate on h7. If black goes g6, there is no defense after queen h3. White quickly wins in 3 moves. So if you play knight f3, he will take ef6, and then this mate is unstoppable. If you move the rook, there is just checkmate in 2. So after knight g5 check, king g8, queen d3, rook e8, let's say, is the best move. Then there is queen h7 check, and after king f8, this is a very important moment. You must know queen h5 to keep the initiative going. And here after king e7, white can play knight f7 or queen f7, and after king d8 he can also bring another piece with knight f4 or simply take knight e6, and he has an overwhelming position. So that's a trap again. After king f1, if your opponent plays castles, be ready to play bishop into h7. Bishop e7 is the correct move for black, and black should avoid playing castles on the king side. Alright, let's move on to another trap. After knight d2, let's go d takes e4, and after knight takes e4, let's say knight d7, white simply develops with knight f3, and after knight gf6, white develops the bishop, and after bishop e7, castles b6. And now since black has played b6, white plays knight e5 to take advantage of the fact that the c6 square is no longer protected by the pawn. And after bishop b7, white can go knight takes f6, and after g takes f6, it's a good moment to see what you would do as white. It's a nice tactical shot. White can play knight takes f7, and this move is attacking queen and rook. So that means king takes f7 is forced, and then there is queen check. And after king g8, number of pleasing options for white, but in the trap that I'm going to show, white played rook e1, idea rook e3, rook g3. This is a game between Naidov and Gilsberg that happened in 1929. And after knight f8, white played rook takes e6, sacrificing the rook. I must admit that this is not the best move in this position. White should have played bishop h6. But after rook takes e6, knight takes e6, bishop c4, queen d6, white played bishop h6 now. And then after bishop f8, this is the losing move for black. After bishop f8, white has rook e1, intending to go bishop into e6. And after bishop c8, he played queen e8. Now again he's threatening to play rook e6, so after bishop d7 he played rook e6. And if you play bishop into e8, there is rook into e8 here. So black played rook takes e8, and then white has rook takes e8 check, rook takes e8 check with the bishop. And after bishop e6, it's checkmate in 2. White first takes bishop takes e6, and then there is a mate on f8. Let's move on. After e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, let's take a look at bishop b4. Here white went e5, and after c5 he played a3, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, and after knight e7 white played knight f3, and after queen c7 white simply developed his bishop to d3. Black played knight b c6, white went castles, and after castles here is your opportunity. Based on the traps that I've already shown you, I think it's much easier now to spot the winning move for white. Of course, it is the Greek gift with bishop takes h7, and after king takes h7, there is knight g5. Now, the plus point here, in comparison with the trap that I showed you earlier, is that the queen can now also come to h5. So after king g6, there is a direct win with queen d3, and then white can play queen h3. And in case of king g8, there is queen h5 directly, and then queen h7 is a very dangerous threat. So if black plays something like rook d8, white can play queen f7, king h8, and even play f4, so that this rook lift decides the game in white's favor. Alright, let's move on. After e4, e6, d4, d5, let's say knight c3, black goes knight f6. And now white can go bishop g5. And after bishop e7, he can attack the knight and play e5. And after knight fd7, white can play h4. So this is a nice variation that white could try. And after castles, white can play bishop d3. And after c5, knight h3 is the point. So that after c takes d4, you have bishop e7, queen e7, and again the good old Greek gift sacrifice with bishop h7. In case of king h7, there is queen h5 followed by knight g5, which again decides the game in white's favor. This unstoppable mate. If you play rook e8, there is a checkmate that follows. I'm going to show you another interesting trap that starts with e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight f6. After knight e4, knight f6, knight takes f6, queen takes f6, and now white simply develops a knight to f3. And now the threat is bishop g5. So black plays h6 to prevent it, and then white comes up with a clever move, which is h4. The idea will become evident very soon. Black plays c5, white goes d takes c5, and after bishop c5, white has a spectacular move in this position. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. Alright, I'm going to reveal the move now. It is bishop to g5. The queen cannot move, unfortunately, because of the mate on d8. So the queen cannot even capture the pawn because of the same reason. So after h g5, there is h into g5, and then after bishop b4 check. Don't have to play even c3 because there is bishop into c3 coming, so be aware. because c3, bishop c3, and then if you play king e2, then the rook h1 is difficult because the bishop cannot come to b5. So that is the reason white goes king e2 first, and now if you take rook takes h1, there is g takes f6 first. So black played, let's say, queen takes f3 and then king takes f3, and now after rook takes h1, there is bishop b5 check that wins the game for white. You can see that white can also pick up the rook on the next move if black goes knight d7. So those were some of the traps that I had picked for you. I hope that you get at least some of the positions that I covered in your own games, or even the patterns that could repeat, because French is such an opening with a lot of tactics involved. So I have a feeling that you will at least get the themes in your French games. So black players, be ready to face all these dangerous ideas, and maybe next time I will come up with the video covering the black side of the traps. Okay, alright, thank you very much for watching. Do like the video and do subscribe to our channel. I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care, bye bye.